Hare Krishna. So, we are partially back.
Two students will join. Attendance was 14. Two will join.
Okay, no problem.
I already informed you.
Yeah. Just now, Prabhupada is saying this material world is like a hurricane. Always disturbing. Okay, so I was trying to answer Priyamukunda Prabhu's question. More or less I answered, but he himself is not there to see if he is satisfied with the answer or not. So till he joins or shows up, we'll continue with the translations. Okay, I should share. Okay, please read 11, translation 11.
Following the advice of the demigods, Indra killed Vritrasura and he suffered because of this sinful killing. Although the other demigods were happy, he could not derive happiness from killing of Vritrasura. Indra's other good qualities, such as tolerance and opulence, could not help him in this grief.
So he was very morose that he actually killed Vritrasura. Okay, translation further, please.
Indra saw personified sinful reactions chasing him, appearing like a Chandala woman, a woman of the lowest class. She seemed very old, and all the limbs of her body trembled because she was afflicted with the tuberculosis. Her body and garments were covered with blood, breathing an unbearable fishy odor and polluted the entire street. She called the Indra. Wait, wait. What is it?
Okay, continue.
Varghese Anand Leela Mataji.
O King, Indra first fled to the sky, but there also he saw the woman of personified sin chasing him. This which followed him wherever he went. At last he very quickly went to the northeast and entered the Manasa Sarovara lake.
Okay, next.
Always thinking of how he could be relieved from the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana, King Indra, invisible to everyone, lived in the lake for 1000 years in the subtle fibers of the stem of a lotus. The fire god used to bring him his share of all yagyas, but because the fire god was afraid to enter the water, Indra was practically starving.
So he did tapasya for 1000 years in Manasarovar lake, starving. This is what he did. Okay, please read. As long as Indra lived in water wrapped in the stem of the lotus, Nahusha was equipped with the ability to rule the heavenly kingdom. Due to his knowledge, austerity, and mystic power, Nahusha, however, blinded and maddened by his power and opulence, made undesirable proposals to Indra's wife with the desire to enjoy her. Thus, Nahusha was cursed by a Brahmana and later became a snake. Okay, this is another interesting story. That Indra actually went to do tapasya. So then Nahusha is actually coming in the Puru family, in the Puru line. So he was chosen as the Indra, and because he was so pious and he was so qualified, he was chosen as Indra. Then he took the position of Indra. But as soon as he took the position, after some time, he saw Sachi Devi, who was wife of Indra, and then he became very lusty. And then he went and told her that you are Indra's wife, I am Indra, so you should enjoy with me. And she became very disturbed. She didn't know what to do. She approached the sages and she approached Narad Muni. Narad Muni told, okay, you tell him that you're Indra, you should come by a palanquin which is carried by the 7 sages. And then you can come and you can enjoy with me. Then she told the same thing. Indra said, yeah, I can do that. So he called all the 7 sages and he said, carry me in a palanquin to Indra and his palace. I want to enjoy. The 7 sages, they were thinking, okay, now this guy is Indra, now what to do? We take him. So they were carrying, but he became so lusty and he could not tolerate that they were going. So he wanted them to go fast. So he kicked one of the sages and then he said, Sarpa Sarpa, which means go fast, go fast. But Sarpa also means snake. So the sage actually cursed him. Oh, you are kicking me and telling Sarpa Sarpa, you man, you become Sarpa. You become a snake. He cursed him. So then Nahusha, from being Indra, he directly fell down to the world, material world, and then he took the form of a snake. Then later he was relieved from the curse when he heard the exposition of Dharma from Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yudhishthira Maharaj explained to him what is Dharma and how to follow Dharma. And this way he was relieved from his curse. So being too pious is also dangerous. It's not that piety is good. Piety is also dangerous. Anyway. Okay, please read 17.
Indra's sins were diminished by the influence of Rudra, demigod of direction. Because Indra was protected by the goddess of fortune, Lord Vishnu's wife, who resides in the lotus cluster of Manasa Sarovar lake, Indra's sin could not affect him. Indra was ultimately relieved of all the reactions of his sinful deed by strictly worshipping Lord Vishnu. Then he was called back to the heavenly planets by the Brahmanas and reinstated in his position.
Okay, next translation, please read.
O king, when the Lord Indra reached the heavenly planets, the saintly Brahmanas approached him and properly initiated him into the fourth sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, meant to please the Supreme Lord.
Okay, next.
The horse sacrifice performed by the saintly Brahmanas relieved Indra of the reactions to all his sins because he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that sacrifice. O king, although he had committed a gravely sinful act, it was nullified at once by that sacrifice, just as fog is vanquished by the brilliant sunrise.
Next.
King Indra was favored by Marichi and the other great sages. They performed the sacrifice just according to the rules and regulations, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, the original person. Thus, Indra regained his exalted position and was again honored by everyone.
Okay, next.
In this very great narrative, there is glorification of Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan. There are statements about the exaltedness of devotional service. There are descriptions of devotees like Indra and Vritrasura. And there are statements about King Indra's release from sinful life and about his victory in fighting the demon. By understanding this incident, one is relieved of all sinful reactions. Therefore, the learned are always advised to read this narration. If one does so, one will become expert in the activities of the senses. His opulence will increase and his reputation will become widespread. One will also be relieved of all sinful reactions. He will conquer all his enemies and the duration of his life will increase. Because this narrative is auspicious in all respects, learned scholars regularly hear and repeat it on every festival day.
Thus ends the Bhakti purport of 6th canto, 13th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled King Indra afflicted by sinful reactions. So this is the Falashruti. So we have some purports to read. We'll read those purports and then we'll conclude this section. Okay, please read the purport.
It
may be suggested that Indra was unhappy because he knew that he had killed a great devotee and Brahmana. Vritrasura outwardly appeared to be a demon, but inwardly he was a great devotee and therefore a great Brahmana. Therefore, in terms of real culture, one should not be considered a demigod or demon simply according to birth. In this means that an, an expert Brahman may not be a Vaishnav, but a Vaishnav is already a Brahmana. A millionaire may very easily possess hundreds and thousands of dollars, but a person with hundreds and thousands of dollars is not necessarily a millionaire.
Okay, please read this purport.
This means that by once chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from the reactions of more sins that he can even imagine performing. This does not mean, however, that one should intentionally commit sinful acts and think himself free from the reactions because he is chanting the holy name. Such a mentality is a most abominable offense at the lotus feet of the holy name. A son begotten by a Brahmana and born from the womb of a Shudra mother is called a Parshva or Nishada, a hunter accustomed to stealing. A son begotten by a Nishada in the womb of a Shudra woman is called a Pukasa. A child begotten by Kshatriya in the womb of a daughter of a Shudra is called a Ugra. A child begotten by a Shudra in the womb of a daughter of a Kshatriya is called a Kshatra. A child begotten by a Kshatriya in the womb of a lower class woman is called Swada or a dog eater. All such offerings are considered extremely sinful, but the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so strong that all of them can be purified simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The Hare Krishna movement offers everyone a chance to be purified, regardless of birth or family. Such
Yeah,
perfect
Prabhupada quotes this very famous shloka, Pirata Nandra Pulinda Pulkasha Virasumbayavana Kashadaya. Yanye cha papayata pashraya ashreha. Dyanti tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha. So this comes as part of Sukadeva Goswami's prayers in the beginning of the second canto, where the power of the holy name has been demonstrated. Okay, please complete the purport, Mataji.
Such purposefully devised atonement, however, cannot relieve the performer of sinful acts. This will be seen from the following verse.
Okay, next.
Therefore, the sinful reaction was greater than before. Indra could not be relieved from the reaction simply by performing sacrifices for atonement. The planned execution of sinful deeds on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord or undergoing prashchit atonement cannot give relief to anyone, even to Indra or Nahusha.
Okay. Next.
One cannot be happy by committing sinful acts, even if one is endowed with material opulence. Indra found this to be true. Therefore, in spite of being king of heaven and enjoying material opulence, Indra was always unhappy because of the accusations of the populace.
So it's a very important lesson for us that just because we are devotees, we should not think, oh, we can do sinful things. It's not a problem. Definitely, as a devotee, if you do sinful things also, we have to suffer heavily. Sometimes, there is sometimes devotees say that offense is more serious, sin is not as serious as offense. It is true. But then the sin is also very serious. It's not that it is, is not as serious as offense, so therefore we can do sin. It's not like that. We have actually taken a vow that we will not do sins by taking the vow of following four regulative principles. So doing something sinful for a devotee is also very difficult. It's not like we should take it we should not think, oh, okay, I am devotee, I can do whatever I want. Devotee is supposed to be, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam ye dvanda moha nirmutta bhajante mam dridavrataha. So if one has to be fixed in devotional service, if one has to become dridavrata, then one should definitely avoid sinful activities. Otherwise, one will never be able to be fixed in devotional service. So Very important. Yes, Angela Mataji. Yes, and comment.
No, I have a question, or I wanted to make it clear. So even though Indra performed this activity on the recommendation of the sages, as was the scenario circumstance, but still they didn't, they didn't help him later, and then he had to suffer the reactions himself. So is it like, even though if someone takes a kind of a decision earlier under an umbrella of a panel of, aforesaid whatever brahmanas or the authorities, but when it actually comes to, atonement or prayaschitta, whatever, that comes on that person only, like that's what is the understanding?
Correct. Yeah, it's true. Because the person who is actually executing the act, he has to take some responsibility for the act itself, in spite of whatever advice he is getting. So that is a difficulty in management position. That's why, many devotees, they don't want to be managers, because this is, you are executing something, there's going to be some reaction for it. That reaction we have to take. And that's the austerity of being in management. Like, for example, gurus. I'm going from management to gurus. Okay. So gurus, it's very difficult to be guru, especially in ISKCON, in Kali Yuga. It's extremely difficult to be guru, because you become guru in good faith, you initiate a disciple, then the disciple doesn't follow things, then the guru has to suffer for it. So there is no escaping from that suffering. But at the same time, Krishna is also considering all these things, because Krishna knows that, okay, they are taking risk on my behalf. So one side they are suffering, but the other side, Krishna also is taking this into account. Okay, these guys are taking some risk on my behalf. So Krishna is also merciful to them. So that's what we see. That it's not that Indra was completely condemned for the rest of his life. So he went through some austerity. His sinful reactions went away, and then Indra came back. He got his position back. He got his honor back. He got everything back. So, but at the same time, he had to go through whatever austerity he had to go through. He had to be in Manasarovar. He was not eating anything for 1,000 years. He stayed there. Of course, they have a long life. For us, 1,000 years looks fantastic, but for them, 1,000 years is not so fantastic. So, but the 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 burden of doing something is always there. Is always there. That cannot be avoided.
Thank you.
So you can do your best. You can consult the best of devotees, and then you can do your best, and then you try to do whatever is according to dharma, whatever is there. But if there is something discrepancy is there, if Krishna wants to, give some reaction to it, then at the same time one should happily accept it also. That's what Dhritarashtra also did. Chitraketu, you will find in the next chapter that he was doing his best. He was not trying to upset anything, but simply by Krishna's own arrangement, Parvati got upset and then she cursed Dhritarashtra for no fault of Chitraketu. Chitraketu was not at all at fault. In fact, Parvati was at fault in cursing Chitraketu. That becomes very clear in the end of the next unit. It was Parvati's fault that she cursed Chitraketu, but Chitraketu did not react. He did not say anything. He just apologized to Parvati, and then he went through that whole reaction of having a demoniac body and, being born in that body and then getting killed by Indra. He just went through the whole thing without complaining. So that maturity we should develop. That, of course, we need to take responsibility. Of course, we need to do different services. But in the process, if there is some discrepancy, there is some reaction, we should just depend on Krishna and then just go through it. Like even priestly services are like that. One does priestly services, and then one has to accept the sinful reactions of the Yajaman. But then you cannot say that, okay, we will not do priestly service at all. Then what will happen to Grahasthas? So the Grahasthas have to go through the different samskaras. So somebody has to do that service. So then the person who is doing that service, then he should be of right disposition, he should have right consciousness, and he should do it nicely, so that whatever discrepancy is there, some reaction comes, he accepts it, and then he gets purified and then moves forward. So there is risk, but there is also reward. Both are. So Krishna does recognize people who do difficult service. It's not like, okay, the only risk is there. Reward is also. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this whole unit, which is the unit of Vritrasura. So I had requested all of you to actually see if we can draw some lessons by observing both Indra and Vritrasura from management point of view. That they both have different management styles. They both act differently. They both act as managers in their own capacity. So you have something to share about this. You have something to say about this. You have something to share about this. There's something which I told you that please observe both of them and see what you can draw some conclusion. You have something to share, something to say. Yes, please, Satyam.
I jot down some points, Guruji, while going through the chapters.
Yes,
So, I don't know if I am right or wrong here because necessarily I could not find anything positive in Indra's side of management. I could only find negative points. So maybe, I don't know, faulted my part or not, I don't know. So the points for Indra's management that I could find was that he got chastised by his spiritual master Brihaspati because he was proud. And, when it came to Vishwarupa also, he did not even give him a chance to explain. He just, in one go, he got offended by something and he just cut his head. And I mean, to an extent, he had some sort of revengeful, propensity also. And he was, constantly trying to assert his authority, or, he wanted to show the influence of his authority. And he was attached to his material position also. And when it came to Vritrasura, he was very encouraging and supportive of his army. And we could see that same thing in the case of, when he was trying to encourage and support Indra also so that he can, do his duty. Whether it was related to fighting or whatever, he was there to support him to bring up his faith as well. And he was God conscious also. And he identified Indra as his own, having same master. His faith in Lord was unshakable. And he agreed to Krishna's plan. He did not give it a second thought. He was a pure devotee. He welcomed death fearlessly. And he acted as spiritual master for Indra.
Okay,
That's
good.
about it.
Okay, good. But there are also some good things about Indra. Anybody wants to say anything good things about Indra? Yes, Anglila Madhuri.
I think the first and foremost is he didn't blame people, situation, and circumstance, and that often many of us get into when we come into different situation. We always excuse ourselves for whatever we have done. I did it because of this such and such person and circumstance and situation. So he took it upon himself. Actually, that also goes with Vritrasura also. He never questioned when he got the curse of being born in such and such way. So that is something very commendable for us to learn, that take the responsibility on ourselves and move forward. And actually, I saw quite a lot of similarities, that they were both very God conscious. For any circumstance, they were actually only looking for the Lord only, even though in the end, Indra, what we saw, that he actually meditated on the Lord, and so even in the worst circumstance or any circumstance, he actually looked forward to the Lord for help. And the same with, of course, Vritasura, he was quite strong in that sense. And we always see the different kind of devotees. Some are not so strong, but eventually with association, they can revive their uh, consciousness, and act, that we see then those these kind of devotees, I think all around us. So it's very inspiring. The very most important thing that I felt was not blaming anyone else. Take it upon ourselves and move forward.
Very good, very nice. Very nice. So Priya Mukunda Prabhu is back. So Prabhu, we are very satisfied with the answer which I gave you for your previous
Yes,
question.
Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful answer and explanation, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Really grateful.
Okay, so you wanted to say something?
No, Prabhuji, I just wanted to acknowledge my gratitude.
Okay. Yes, Darga Krishna.
Prabhuji, you could see that both as managers, they were encouraging their armies, their subordinates, whether it's Vritrasur or Indra. When the demon started leading, then Vritrasur took the lead and he went ahead. Same way when Aravat fell 14 yards behind, then Indra consoled him, revived him again, and they both again in the battlefield. We could see this from the management point of view that the managers who always support their subordinates and revive them and encourage them when they are in some difficulties. And one good side, and although Indra was in the battlefield, he could see the devotee side of Vitrasur. Although for some point of time he was bewildered, but when the another devotee, as Vitrasur revived that, okay, this is the plan of God, so he could also see that devotee side of Vitrasur. So during the management, generally, not sometime, we forget that the person who are dealing is also a devotee. But Indra remember this thing that, and he was also later on he could see the reactions of it, whether it's Brahmanas, where are the Siddha Purusas, everybody went back to their home and he was in the grief. So, so we have to be very cautious while dealing on this management positions. End of the day, we have to face the result.
Okay.
Indra was facing.
Okay, good. Good. Nice. Nice. Some nice qualities of Indra coming out as not just negative part, but of course he has his weakness, but he also has his strengths. And his biggest strength is that he is able to recognize that he is actually dealing with a devotee. And that's a very important aspect of being a good manager, because we could have multiple differences. We could have, we may have to take some action, etc. But we should never forget that we're actually dealing with a devotee. So if you're able to do that, then we can always be the other person's well-wisher, irrespective of whatever we have to do, whatever action we have to take. And those actions which we take also come from that aspect of being a well-wisher of that person. So then the actions are more meaningful, they are more Krishna conscious, they are more beneficial for everyone. So therefore, these are all some important qualities we should learn from Indra also, that how to recognize that we are actually dealing with devotees, even though externally it may look like we are not dealing with devotees, but how to recognize that we may be dealing with devotees. That's a greatest strength of Indra, that he could actually recognize Vritrasura's actual position and accept Vritrasura's advice. That's another important aspect of Indra's character, that he actually accepted Vritrasura's advice. Whatever Vritrasura told him, he acknowledged it. He accepted it. He said, yes, what you're saying is true. We should do our duties, respective duties, even though they are contradicting each other. So with Indra, he actually became detached by association. Initially, he was attached, but he became detached by association. So that is also another good quality of Indra, that he was able to recognize that good association and take that association, and he was able to get himself detached. Then, as Mataji also pointed out, Anandila Mataji pointed out, that the other biggest strength of Indra is that Indra actually owns up things. He owns up things. He owns up his sinful reactions. He owns up things, and he goes through whatever he has to go through. So that's an important also aspect of being a manager. Of course, Dhritarashtra is the most ideal manager. He has all the qualities of an ideal manager. He is able to appreciate Indra. He is able to also guide Indra. He is able to have strong faith in Krishna. And in the most adverse circumstances, he is able to remain Krishna conscious. So he is, in all ways, he is a perfect example. Dhritarashtra remains a perfect example of what kind of consciousness we should have while dealing with difficult things. So this way, we get some nice journey. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with me. I had nice, lively time with all of you. Nice, wonderful class discussions, etc. So, till we have another opportunity to meet each other. Thank you very much. And if you come to Mayapur, please give us some opportunity to serve. Very happy to see you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so very much, Prabhuji. And it was like from your busy schedule, you accepted the request and gave us the sessions. Thank you so much. And from these sessions, I could say that yes, it's really impact me personally. And I am so sure with the devotees as well. When we hear from the mouth of a pure devotee, it really, cleanses the heart and just put bhakti in us. So thank you so very much, Prabhuji. And I request that in future also, we of course we have about to complete our Bhakti Vaibhav, but few sessions like something 2, 3, 4, if you can bless us with, we can decide the topic and then you can bless us to teach this.
And meet in Bhakti Vedanta. We all do
Then
Bhakti
okay.
and we can meet.
Then teach us Bhakti Vedanta also, Prabhuji.
Then meet in Bhakti.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Suji. Thank you for your Dhanat Pranam.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you very much.
Krishna Prabhuji, please mute yourself.
Thank you very much.
जू में भी प्रभुपाद क्वार्टर बंद रखते हैं
वो तो कॉल तो नहीं करता है क्या? तू कॉल तो करके नहीं जाता क्या?